Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome to a very special CanUK podcast. That's right, episode 66, part 1. And this episode will be the beginning of our looking back at the year that was 2014. Until North Korea hacks us, I suppose. But until then, joining me for part 1 is Israel Pacheco.
Woo!
How's it going, Izzy?
It's going good, man. Happy to be here.
hmm Back again this year to... Man, I can't believe it's been a year since we did the
That's crazy, yeah.
looking back at 2013. I actually took a look
That's
at
pretty
the
crazy.
episode, and we recorded last year on December 29th, so
Hmm.
2 days from now would be a year since we did that
Wow.
recording. The time has certainly flown by.
Yeah. It's been a good year. I
hmm
think overall there's been some disappointing stuff, which I'm sure we'll get to.
Oh, yes.
But, uh, but yeah, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer like Polygon. They wrote that article that was like, oh, 2014 is terrible, blah, blah, blah.
hmm
I
Yeah.
was like, come on, Polygon.
hmm
Come on, guys. Come on. It seems like everybody on that website has like serious case of depression or something. Because like, and I don't mean to make fun of anybody with like mental illness, but no, honestly, they're so like cynical. Like
hmm
it's crazy.
Yep. Always there to point out the bad, never focus on the
Yeah,
good, which is
exactly.
which is what we're going to try and do. Like you
Yeah.
said, we do have, I think, two disappointing categories, one for games and one for movies. But outside of that, we're going to focus on the good stuff this year. So, yeah. Without further ado, I guess we can dive into our first set of categories, which is gaming, which we both are greatly in love with. And our first category in this is our favorite character in a game.
Hmm. See, I was thinking about this and going through like the list of my top games
hmm
and
It's
my
Aiden
top
Pierce,
game.
isn't it, from Watch Dogs,
No.
right?
No, definitely not. Yeah, it's hard to pick because a lot of the games that I really enjoyed this year were very, like, not necessarily character driven.
hmm
Like Sunset Overdrive, like you customize your character. You can make him look like you, or you can make him look ridiculous. Mario Kart, it's just the Nintendo characters. Donkey Kong, it's Donkey Kong.
yep.
So it's kind of hard for me to pick, but really the big like narrative based game that I played this year finally was The Last of Us, the remastered version on PS4.
hmm
But even then, I didn't agree with things that Joel did in the game, so I don't know if he would be my favorite character. I got to think this for a little bit. So I don't know if you know off the top of your head who your favorite character is this year so far.
Well, it has. I have played quite a few games, and thinking back, it is a hard choice. Unlike previous years when
Hmm.
it was easy to pick a character. Really, I think last year Joel was my pick. Um, but off the top of my head, I'm going to have to go with Bayonetta right now.
Take that, Polygon.
Yeah, for the exact opposite reasons of what they like tore away from her game. She's a character that is completely in control of her own sexuality. She's funny. She's badass. All right, and she's a great character.
Yeah, that's true. She like you were saying in your top games video, she really owns her sexuality. Unlike what Polygon was saying,
hmm
that she was somehow I don't know, they're saying like she was salacious or like over sexualized or
hmm
whatever they were saying. I don't know. It's Polygon, but
yeah.
I think that's a good choice. I'm trying to think. on my feet right now and try to pick a character, taking a look at my game collection back there, and looking through the games that I played.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what character really struck. Like last year, it was Ellen Page's character in Beyond Two Souls, and that was just like immediately like I connected with that character.
Mm-hmm.
This year, it hasn't been the same. It's been more like what's the term that they use? Like what they always say about Halo, that Master Chief is not Master Chief. He's like you. I know there's a term for that. I
Yeah.
can't think of it off the top of my head, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like an avatar. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's not like a full fleshed out character. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but just for the sake of the show, I guess I'll go with Donkey Kong because it's just a simple character. I just like his expressions in the game. I like all of Kong's expressions in Donkey Kong Country,
Mm-hmm.
Dixie and Cranky Kong and Diddy Kong. All those little animations that they do when you're trying to fight the bosses and stuff. So yeah, I guess the Donkey Kong family would be my character of the year pretty much.
Well, that's still a good choice.
Hmm.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to our next category here. Maybe this one will be a little bit easier for us, and that's our favorite moment in a game. Just that one moment that stood out more so than anything else.
Hmm. It's probably going to be Donkey Kong related also. And to me, it was the first time I heard the soundtrack for Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze as I was playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't know, David Wise, who's the original composer of the original trilogy, I believe, on the Super Nintendo when it came to the soundtrack, he came back for this game. He wasn't involved with Donkey Kong Country Returns, but for Tropical Freeze, they brought him on. And that really helped the game for me, in my opinion. It really brought back like a sense of, familiarity when it came to the game
Mm-hmm.
because he did the old soundtracks. He remixed some tracks from them, but then he brought some new stuff, and it was just amazing. The first time I listened to all the different tracks, and in particular, I think it was the windmill level that in particular really stood out for me. That was the first one that I sort of got chills when I heard it. Like it just, he's like a master at creating these themes that really fit the stages and really set the tone for what you're about to play.
Mm-hmm.
And that I guess that was the most striking thing for me because I know a lot of people would be like, oh, beating the raid in Destiny or other, bigger, grander, and elaborate things. But for me, it's pretty simple this year, and it's just listening to the Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze soundtrack as I was playing it for the first time.
Nice, nice. Actually, I'm going to have to say my moment is really similar to yours in the fact that it was from a Nintendo game and it relates to music. And actually, it comes part of a DLC pack at that.
Mhm.
And I'm of course
Oh,
referring
I
to
think I think I know what you're gonna say. Yeah.
yeah, this is referring to the Mario Kart 8 DLC. To be specific, the Hyrule Castle track. I'm not going to lie, I was enjoying the DLC up till that point, but I really, really got emotional as soon as the music for that track started playing. Just like the attention to detail to everything around that track, to the fact that they replaced coins with rupees, everything else. It just made me remember why I love Nintendo so much. So,
I think that's going to
yeah.
be a recurring theme here as the show progressed about Nintendo, the show that used to bash the Wii U so bad. We've come full circle now, and we love the Wii U.
hmm Yeah, it's definitely been the year that we fell in love with Nintendo again.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Right. Well, moving onwards, our most surprising game. That one game that, we maybe went into not thinking that much about, but at the end of the day, it really surprised us, really grabbed us, sucked us in, and made us love it so much.
I think for me, it's another Nintendo game, and that is I haven't finished it, but I was just really surprised at how much I enjoyed what I played. And
Hmm.
that's Hyrule Warriors. I thought the game wasn't going to be good, honestly. And it ended up being pretty fun and pretty cool as a fan service for fans of the Legend of Zelda series.
Hmm. That's cool.
It's definitely a game I need to go back and finish. I was playing it in co-op with my little brother, so
Ah,
I'm
okay.
sure I'll finish it the same way.
Hmm. That's definitely one I need to pick up at some point. For me, it's Shadow of Mordor this year. Because,
Yeah, I haven't got to play that, so that probably could have been mine because I've heard a lot of great things about it.
hmm oh, excuse me. Yeah, leading up to the release, I was really, really skeptical about that game. Just like thinking, it's just a cash grab for, Lord of the Rings franchise and whatnot. Then the reviews started coming out, and it was like overwhelmingly positive for the game. And a few friends of mine who I really trust with game opinions started telling me about it. It was like, wow, that actually sounds pretty good. So I gave in. I bought it. It's actually my first digital full price game purchase. And yeah, I haven't regretted it. I still need to finish the game, but it's been the game this year that I've maybe had the most fun with and really surprised the hell out of me.
Hmm.
Story, could live without it. It's alright and does the job, but gameplay-wise, yeah, this Shadow of Mordor, one of the most fun games I've played all year, and I wasn't expecting anything from it.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could have used Mario Kart also because the last few Mario Kart games I wasn't really feeling, and the latest one was really good.
Hmm. Alright, well, it's time to drop the happiness because it's time for our most disappointing game of 2014.
This could be so many.
Yep.
This really could. I'm gonna go for the. I don't know if it's the easiest one. It might be for some people, but that is Destiny. Which Lord X almost chokes. Bungie's attacking him right now. They're like, no, you can't speak bad about this game.
Tell the
You
folks I
okay,
need. I
man?
need a second. Just tell the folks.
Okay. So yeah, most disappointing game, Destiny. Um, I'm a big fan of Bungie when it came to, or was a big fan of Bungie when it came to the original Halo games. And I was really hyped for this one. I was thinking it was going to be like Halo meets Mass Effect, like this huge, expansive world that you could live in. And it really didn't end up being that. It was more like Borderlands meets Halo, but without the story, pretty much.
Mm. Yep.
The gameplay was really good, I think. But it got repetitive. I did finish this game, which is weird. Like my most disappointing game I finished, but there's a lot of other games that were better that I didn't finish this year, which is kind of strange. I guess it has to do with the addicting nature of the gameplay.
Hmm.
But it was fun, but once I got to the end and saw all there is to see and got to level 20, I wasn't one of those people who stuck around. It's funny because every time I think of that, I think of Aussie legend. He's like level 30 something now and he's still playing it. But I just gave up on the game. I'm like, why do I have to grind and do all this stuff so I could see the best elements of the game when I just spent 10, 15 hours already in the game and now I gotta spend even more. It's sort of like that what was it, the Final Fantasy 13 comparison
Hmm.
or whichever one of those sequels, and they were like, oh yeah, the game gets good 40 hours in. Like, no, like I don't want
That's
to do
13.
that. Yeah, exactly. That's what I've heard. So yeah, it was just disappointing for me. There was other games like Watch Dogs that just fell flat for me, and Master Chief Collection, it was broken when it released. But yeah, this takes the cake for me.
Yeah, it's also my choice as well. And I think it beats out Watch Dogs as my most disappointing game for the sole reason that before E3 I really had no interest in it whatsoever. then the alpha and beta came out, and I really loved the alpha and beta. I mean, I played a lot of both of those.
Yeah, same here. I put like probably like 6, 7 hours into each.
hmm And then when the full game came, it was like, so we basically played the entire game just in the
Yeah,
beta.
we played like a third of the game pretty much in the
Yeah.
beta.
Yeah, and I think that was the really disappointing part, was there wasn't much else after that. Like all the things you said, just the grinding to do nothing. I mean, I guess people who've played and enjoyed WoW will get a real kick out of Destiny because that's all you basically do.
Yeah, and I can honestly say that I don't remember anything about the story. Like
hmm
I remember you wake up, Peter Dinklage wakes you up, but that's about it. Then after that, I don't know what's happened. The wizard from the moon, and then the guy with the mask that Aussie Legend was making fun of when we were playing. That was
Oh
funny
yeah.
as hell. But yeah, it was just overall, it's not memorable to me. Like if you asked me, like when I was making my game of the year list, like what games am I going to remember 5, 10 years from now from this year?
hmm
Um, it has to be the most memorable stuff. And for me, Destiny just wasn't very memorable. It was really lackluster, really just mediocre.
hmm Definitely, yeah. Alright, well, let's bring the mood back up again as we talk about our favorite developer slash publisher of the year.
Nintendo.
Yep, yep.
Nintendo takes the cake this year between Donkey Kong and Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, Hyrule Warriors, and other games that have been on their platform this year,
hmm
which
I've
I haven't
got
got to
every
play
single
yet,
one of
like
them.
Captain Toad and Bayonetta I haven't got to play yet, but yeah, they just overall, because when you think about it, what other developer this year, or really developer slash publisher, which Nintendo is, really stood out this year? Maybe one, like if you're talking about, like you said, Shadow of Mordor, maybe Monolith would be
hmm
like a developer for, but it's just one game when you look at it. It isn't like Sony had a banner year. If we're talking next year, Sony could be in the discussion because we got Bloodborne, The Order, and Uncharted 4 coming out, and I'm sure some other games from their first party studios. But this year,
hmm
I don't know. They dropped the ball. Microsoft Studios too. Like Sunset Overdrive was really cool.
hmm
Forza wasn't really my thing. I haven't played Horizon 2, but it's not really for me, I guess. And Master Chief Collection was botched at launch.
Yep.
So when you really look at the grand scheme of things, who had the most successful launches? Same thing with Sony. Sony messed up terribly with Drive Club, and
hmm
Little Big Planet had some issues with glitches and stuff.
Yep.
But Nintendo, they just brought quality this year.
hmm
Every single one of their games worked. Every single one of their games hit at a certain time this year, which they were smart about. They didn't give the release date to Smash Brothers on the Wii U until like it was almost released. So
hmm
they weren't delaying things. They actually delivered 100%.
Yep. Yeah, totally agree with you. Everything worked from them this year, and every single one of them were fun games.
Yeah, they were all quality games. Even something on the more lower end, like Hyrule Warriors, which is probably like, a good game.
hmm
It isn't maybe up to the level of the other games, but it was still a quality game and it still worked,
hmm
which this year says a lot that it actually worked. But
Yep. The only thing I can think of that they really failed at was that Smash Brothers Online can be really, really laggy still.
oh, I haven't tried it online personally, so
Me,
yeah.
Aussie Legend, and a couple other accents tried to play online for a bit, but yeah.
Yeah, so there seems to be some issues there, but still, on the other hand, Mario Kart 8 works.
Yeah,
Oh,
flawlessly.
yeah, that works really good online. So
So yeah.
that was a
Yeah,
pretty easy pick. Yeah,
yeah, it
because
was.
everybody else messed up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, NIS. I couldn't pick you
Oh,
this
no.
year.
You could have for Danganronpa, but...
hmm All right. Well,
Danganronpa.
moving onwards, our favorite game trailer of the year.
Hmm. Probably going back to E3. Um, I don't know which one to pick. It's between two.
Okay.
Uh, the first reveal of Zelda on Wii U, like
hmm
not the tech demo that we got years ago, like the actual reveal from this past year
Yeah.
at E3, that and Uncharted 4,
hmm
the first reveal of that too. Those were two of my favorite trailers because Uncharted 4 looked ridiculous,
hmm
like graphically, and I was happy to see Nathan Drake back. And on the other hand, Zelda just looked ridiculous too, honestly,
Yeah.
because it was so colorful and it had a mixture of Wind Waker and Skyward Sword
hmm
art style, and you had the whole first time you saw the open world before we saw the lackluster stuff we saw at the Game Awards. But yeah, those two stood out for me.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I would go with Uncharted, but I think like the past trailers this year that we've seen for No Man's Sky have just blown my mind away, especially the one back at I think E3 when they showed it off.
Hmm.
Might have been, yeah, the trailer back then. Just incredible for me. Outside of that, honestly, I can't think of any like specific trailers that really stand out to me for games
Yeah,
this year.
it's not like other years when you would be like, oh, that Dead Island trailer that ended up being nothing like the game, but
Mhm.
it
Actually,
was it was memorable.
now that you mention it, Dead Island 2 trailer from E3 this year.
That was actually a pretty good one, yeah. It was when the guy's running and he's like starting to turn and then all hell breaks loose around him. That
Uh,
was a pretty good trailer.
yeah, because it basically showed what the game was about, the overtop silliness of it. Anyway.
If we could count, I guess, commercials as a trailer,
Mhm.
um, it was a really cool Halo Master Chief Collection commercial that's been running where they use Queen's "We Will Rock You," like we will rock you," but then they use like basically it's the chief like loading up his gun, and then you hear like the recoil of gun and fire, and it's really well done. If you haven't seen it, look it up on YouTube, and they do the sound effects, and it's like. And then it's just like all the different Halo games. It's actually really well made. But yeah, if we could count like a commercial, that would be one.
Okay, yeah, that counts, totally.
Hmm.
Alright, so moving onwards, we have our favorite indie game of the year. Take note, this may actually show up on our next category as well, but just
Yeah.
separate the indies for a second. Our favorite indie games of the year. Um, for me personally, this is a tie for me between Shovel Knight, which is just so beautiful in every retro way possible, and probably the only game to really, well, one of the games to really burst me into tears this year, Valiant Hearts, The Great War.
I need to play that.
hmm Yeah, those two games this year really showed the power of. Oh, I guess Valiant Hearts is kind of indie. It is
Yeah.
still from Ubisoft, but they're smaller teams. But yeah, that game was just so good in telling the history of World War One and the hardships from that. Just incredibly powerful. And on the flip side, Shovel Knight is just so fun and enjoyable. The great music to it, core gameplay, and it's tough as nails like original Mega Man games.
Hmm.
So yeah, those are my two picks for favorite indie game this year.
Yeah, you already said mine, and mine is Shovel Knight, which all the same reason you said. The soundtrack is fantastic. The gameplay is great. The level design, the boss battles, the homages to all the classic NES games.
Mhm.
It's just a really well-made game. It's definitely memorable too. One of the most memorable games of the year because of its art style, and it's pretty much a super. I was about to say Super Nintendo, not meaning like Super Nintendo SNES, but like a super-sized NES game.
Mhm.
But it was really fun. I need to complete that game, but it still takes a spot for me as indie game of the year because I don't think I played too many indie games this year, to be honest. I don't know if Telltale will be considered indie anymore now that they're so mainstream.
Mhm.
Because of the Game of Thrones episode 1 was really good. But yeah, I'll give it to Shovel Knight.
Cool. Cool. And now the big one, our favorite top 3 games of 2014. And most people by now, well, maybe nobody have seen the video yet, but my top 3, of course, were Bayonetta 2, South Park: The Stick of Truth, and of course, Danganronpa 1 and 2.
Danganronpa.
All 3 fantastic games. The only one I haven't finished yet is Bayonetta 2, which I'm working
Yeah.
on.
For me, as of right now, I'm still going through some games, but list as of right now, this moment is Mario Kart 8 as the number 3,
Hmm.
The Last of Us Remastered as the number 2, and number 1 is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
That's a surprise, number 1, to be fair.
Duh, duh, duh.
Nice. Very, very nice top 3. It's
Yeah, and people are probably going to give me shit for The Last of Us, but hey, I played it this year, and I played the remastered version, which came out this year, so suck it.
Yeah, it definitely was a really good year for games. Narrowing down a top 10 is not easy again this year.
Yeah, and the worst thing is going through the list of games you haven't played. I
Hmm.
have I know over 20 games. Like I was
Yep.
trying to make a list of games that I must go through before the end of the year, and then I just realized, yeah, none of this is happening. So let me pick like 2 or 3 to finish up and go through. So
Hmm.
hopefully I could do that, and then sometime next week, hoping to have it out by Friday, which I think is the 2nd of January. I'm hoping to have my Games of 2014 video out,
Cool, cool.
which I haven't had a video on my channel in like over a month. The last thing was Amiibos and Smash Brothers unboxing. But
Hmm. Alright, well, we've looked back at our favorite games of this year, so now it's time to look ahead at the year that is 2015 and the abundance of games that are scheduled to come out next year. And hopefully will come out, but delays be delaying. So our most anticipated games of 2015, since 2015 ends in a 5, let's do our top 5. Or 5 of our most
yeah, I think
anticipated.
I'm gonna do 5 of because I can't. It's too hard to put orders,
Mm,
honestly.
it
Um,
really is.
on these because there's so many good games coming out. I think 2015 is probably going to be the first amazing year of this console generation.
Hmm.
Hopefully, if everything delivers. But these studios have pretty damn good pedigrees. So one of my top 5s, I'm going to go with a number 5, and that is Metal Gear Solid 5. The Phantom Pain, which looks ridiculous. I cannot wait for this to come out. We don't have an official release date
Hmm.
as of yet. There was that leaked, what was it, Swedish shirt that Kojima was wearing that said like June, I guess 15th or 25th, something like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's definitely one for me. I know you didn't really like Ground Zeroes that much because it was too short and there wasn't too much substance there for you.
Hmm.
But I personally really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed how streamlined it felt in terms of the actual controls compared to previous Metal Gear games.
Yeah.
and it just looked great and ran great. 60 frames a second, 1080p. I think that really helps the game. It's just smooth, and it's a great looking engine.
Hmm.
And I can't wait to see what that looks like in a giant open world. And all the trailers that I've seen, it kind of reminds me of Red Dead because everything I've seen has been out like in the desert. So yeah, that's definitely one for me.
All right, well, one on my list is going to be, I love NIS, so I have to include them.
Danganronpa 3000. No.
We'll be lucky if we get the new Danganronpa game next year.
I think we will. I think we will.
Hopefully. But, of course, I'm referring to their main flagship franchise, Disgaea 5.
Do, do, do. Preemies everywhere.
Yes, dude. Yeah, it's one of my favorite strategy series. I think I've only finished 2 in the series. I really need to get on that and get back to 4 and D2 on the PS3 if I ever get time. I probably won't. But, yeah, I'm really excited for that, just to see what insane craziness they can get up to now on the PlayStation 4, because
Yeah, I was just about to ask you what console was coming out on.
they're still, by the looks of it, keeping the same simplified graphics and whatnot, but
Mhm.
just the scale up of everything that they can do, from the amount of characters on screen to just the craziness of the moves. I am so excited for that game. And since it's on the PlayStation 4, I might actually finish it. Maybe through streaming.
That would be pretty cool.
Alright, so back to you.
So, second game for me is Batman Arkham Knight. Honestly, I've been I've been feeling what the former I don't know if I say former Axe Lords or still Axe Lords since they got their new website, the All Outlaw Gamers. I don't know what they're gonna be called now, the OGs. Yeah, they've been talking a lot about Arkham Knight and how it's kind of fallen off the radar. And I'm still really excited for it because it's Rocksteady making another Batman game.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't, another studio handling the property. And it looks gorgeous. The world looks amazing. I'm really intrigued to see who actually is the Arkham Knight.
Mm.
Like if it's some character from the Batman universe or it's something they just created themselves and created their own unique storyline. But I'm sure it's going to be somebody that we know. The Batmobile has been really pushed to the forefront in all the media coverage for this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how that's going to work out. It might be great. But I don't know. But it's still definitely up there for me because Arkham Asylum was incredible. Arkham City was also really good. So those are the best superhero games to date. So we'll see how this one turns out. But I'm still really excited for it.
Mm. Same with me, because that's the next one on my list, actually. I've already got the collector's edition pre-ordered, so yeah,
You got the statue, right?
yeah, I got the statue edition pre-ordered. I was unable to get the Batmobile one, but
I hate that they're doing that now. It's like if you don't get a collector's edition within like the first like 3 days that it goes up, you're done.
yeah.
Like it's good on one hand because they're not just sitting on store shelves like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
They're not super overproduced like the Assassin's Creed ones. But yeah, it's kind of hard now
Well, the reason
to
for
get
me
your hands
was
on them.
that the Batmobile one was web only, so
Ooh, that
yeah.
sucks.
So when I was into EB, I was like, yeah, I just want the statue one. That's all I can really afford anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for every reason that you said, I'm really, really excited for the story. Everything about the game looks so cool. Not sure how I'm feeling about the Batmobile thing either, but I can give or take that. Yeah, definitely. So I'll move on to another one since we both had that one. And my next pick is The Order, 1886. Uh,
Hmm.
maybe out of the PlayStation 4 games, well, the one that's coming out soonest anyway, it's my most anticipated.
Yeah.
Uh, just I love steampunk, that whole style. So that really grabbed me from the beginning, and everything they've shown of the game so far, I can really get behind. Uh, the combat looks cool. I'm quite fine with the quick time events that they've shown, and some people, Polygon, have complained about. But yeah, I'm really digging the look and the style of this game. It's really grabbing me, and I'm really excited to dive into the story of that game, just because it looks so cool.
Yeah, it does look really cool. And when I was just talking about collector's edition, this is one that that I missed. Like
I
the
got it.
more expensive. Damn you.
I don't
The
have the
more.
really expensive one. I have the
Oh,
$89 one.
yeah, the more expensive one, like with the elaborate like statue. Like I had it on pre-order on Amazon, then I canceled it. I'm like, I don't want this, and then I was like, oh, okay, I want it, and then I went back and it sold out everywhere. So this game isn't on my list. I am excited for, but there's some other stuff that I'm excited for, and you're probably gonna be surprised that this one's on my list. And that is Bloodborne, which is
Ooh.
coming to the PS4 by the studio from Software, right, who did Dark Souls and Demon Souls, and I haven't played any of those games, so it's really strange that this is making it to my list. But I've always wanted to play, but I've just been so scared to start them because I think I'm gonna break my TV screen and controller and all this stuff. So this one looks more fast-paced than the previous ones, and I just like the art style more. I don't know. It is similar to the previous games. They all have that dark tone, but this one looks a little more gothic, and I don't know. There's just something really intriguing from all the footage that I've seen. That mysterious character that you play as, and he's got like that scythe and all these different knives and blades, and you have a shotgun. Like it just looks really really cool. So that's definitely up there for me. I actually have that pre-ordered already for next year,
Oh,
which
nice.
it doesn't even come out till March. But
Hmm.
I did get the collector's edition for that. It just brings like the art book and the steel book. So definitely really excited for that one, which is surprising. I'm definitely going to check it out. I can't wait to finally play one of those games and see if I hate it or not, pretty much.
I'm sure you'll love it. Those games are freaking awesome. I would have included that one on my list here if it wasn't for restraint of only 5. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be getting it day one either, simply because I have Final Fantasy Type Zero that month, and
Oh,
I've
yeah, that's
I've
true
been
there.
looking at
So,
2 NIS collector's editions that are up for pre-order
uh-oh.
right now. So
Uh-oh, Hyperdimension Neptunia 5000. No, I'm just playing.
but yeah, definitely looking forward to that game myself. This again, the style, the atmosphere, really selling me on that. And I've played the Dark Souls games and Demon Souls and love them to death, even though I suck at them greatly. But I am
Hmm.
looking forward to the Bloodborne. The next game on my list, taking this back to Nintendo, but staying in the realm of pure Japanese. Hopefully this comes out. Xenoblade Chronicles X.
That's a good one.
Hmm.
If we get it in
If
2014
we get
in
it.
the States. Because
Yep.
I'm sure it'll hit Japan next year, but I'm not so sure
Hmm.
we'll get it. We'll see.
Yeah, especially with that last Nintendo Direct with them going, we're hoping for 2015. Uh, yeah. Yeah, that game just blows my mind that it's on the
It
Wii
looks
U.
really cool. It really does.
Hmm. Just so, like we were talking about Zelda earlier, it's just so massive and open from what they've shown us. And there's mechs and dinosaurs. What more does one want?
I really want dinosaur games to come back. Like, I really want a dinosaur game.
Dino Crisis
But
5 or 4.
yeah, or something. I've never played those, which is weird, especially since I was like obsessed with dinosaurs as a kid. I don't know. I miss those out. I need to go play those actually. Probably get them on PSN.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they are up there. Alright, so what's...
But yeah, my next one's another Nintendo game, and we spoke about it earlier, and that is Zelda Wii U. I did find the footage that they showed, excuse me, at the Game Awards to be lackluster because Miyamoto and Al Newman, as the Go Nintendo podcast calls him, they gave up on calling him Al Newman. They're like, let's just call him Al Newman. So, which is hilarious. They were just sitting on a couch like, okay, let's do a Let's Play of Zelda. Like, it just was weird. And they never showed the footage full screen, and the world wasn't really filled with, like, NPCs or other creatures. And I don't know. It just didn't feel like what I was expecting it to feel.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, it's still a new Zelda game, so I'm looking forward to what it ends up being, but I don't know if it's going to hit in 2015.
Yeah. I've got my doubts on that one as well.
Unless it hits really late in the year, like a December release, but that would be strange for a Zelda release, since they're usually sometime in November or earlier than that. So I think the last December Zelda was probably Twilight Princess on the GameCube, might have been the last one. But yeah, I'm still looking forward to this game. Nintendo's really going to have another great year next year.
Mm-hmm. If they manage to get everything out that they've said.
Yeah, hopefully. The first end of the year isn't looking as good as this year, honestly.
Come on, they have Splatoon.
The Jizz game. That's all I think of every time I see it. But that's what she said. Yeah, it's not looking as great as this year, to be honest. We had Donkey Kong and Mario Kart, etc., but Shovel Knight also. But we got like Yoshi's Woolly, whatever the hell it's called.
Woolly World?
Yeah. But anyway, moving on.
Well, the last one on my list is Persona 5.
I completely forgot it's coming out next year.
Well, hopefully next year.
It's in Japan. But...
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully we get it next year. This is why I saved this one for last, because again, Japanese games...
Damn, I got the Persona 4 Golden theme song stuck in my hand.
You're welcome. Yeah, for all the reasons why Persona 4 was so amazing, I am so excited for Persona 5, and I believe I've talked about it on this podcast before, so...
I wonder what type of art style they're going to go for. New one.
Yeah, because all we've seen so far has been the anime cutscenes.
Because the original Personas, compared to Golden, they weren't as colorful, I would say.
No.
They had like a
three
darker,
kind of was.
Like, yeah, 3 looked like more like a transitional game to what they eventually got to in Golden. Well, at least 4. I keep saying Golden, but that's the Vita version. So I wonder if they're going to go back to the darker, design that they had in previous games, or they're going to keep with the, colorful, over the top Persona 4 that they did. So I'm intrigued to see what the game actually turns out to look like. Because like you said, we've only seen those brief cutscenes, and that really wasn't much.
No. Well, hopefully we get to see more very, very, very soon. Alright, did you have any more on your list, or was that it?
Yeah, my last one is easy. This is number one, and I can tell you that. That's Uncharted 4.
Yeah, I figured.
That's easy. That's easy for me. I'm a big fan of the Uncharted series. This is number one. Like, I know for sure. I wonder if they're going to do a collector's edition for this. They probably are. But I wonder what they would give you with this. Maybe some cool, like, not necessarily a statue, but maybe like one of the relics from the game. That would be kind of cool. But anyway, back to the game itself. As I spoke about in the trailer section that we had earlier, I really love the initial trailer that we saw this. I really love the trailer that they showed at the Sony PSX PlayStation Experience event that really showed how the gameplay actually works in this, which looks like they got a lot from The Last of Us, to be honest, when it comes to the way Nathan Drake moves in the world. He moves a lot more like Joel, sort of like in a stealth fashion compared to before. The movement looks a lot more fluid. The way he interacts with the world looks a lot more fluid. It just looks really cool. Like, they took the best aspects from The Last of Us and put it into Uncharted while keeping Uncharted pretty much.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I think there's no doubt in anybody's mind that Naughty Dog is going to deliver, once again, one of the absolute best games possible.
Yeah. What if at the end there's like this like huge like time warp and Indiana Jones shows up? I would die. It'd be the greatest game ever.
Yeah, but then the aliens pop out and
oh no,
Nathan goes into a nuclear
not that Indy. No,
refrigerator.
he goes through the time warp in a fridge.
Oh my lord. Alright, well that does it for our look back at gaming. So now it's time to take a look back at our favorite movies of the year. And we're going to start this bunch of categories off like we did with the gaming, and that's our favorite movie character of this year.
I didn't see that many films from this year, which sounds kind of stupid. There was a lot of stuff from 2013 that I missed that I watched this year, but for the sake of the list, probably my favorite movie character. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what did I see. I didn't see. Can't think of anything that certainly stands out. I really like Hugh Jackman in Days of Future Past as a Wolverine. I really like the whole cast in general, like Magneto and Xavier, Professor X. I thought that was a really well-made movie, and so it could be any of the cast pretty much, because I think they all did a fantastic job.
Yeah, maybe most surprising in that movie was Quicksilver. The guy playing him was just fantastic.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was a really cool scene.
For me, I think it was pretty easy, and that was a surprise, and because
it was Hercules. No.
Still have not seen that. Probably never will.
No, it's not worth your time. It really is.
It's going to have to be a role played by Keanu Reeves, of all people.
Oh, damn. That was a good one. I couldn't think of that. Yeah, that was a good movie.
John Wick. Because he played that role so well. Because he actually showed emotion for the first time in about 10 years. So yeah, that's definitely my pick. Just a badass John Wick.
That is a good character. Now that I think of it, I'm looking at my Blu-ray collection, see if I missed anything in particular. I don't think I bought a lot of movies this year either, and the ones that I did, Hercules, sucked. Goddamn Hercules.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think we know what your pick for another category is going to be, but first, our favorite movie moment of the year.
That's a good question. Probably gonna pick a strange one, like off the wall.
Okay.
seeing the return of Dragon Ball Z movie, like the
Oh.
Battle of the Gods,
Mm-hmm.
just the whole movie in general. Growing up as a kid in the 90s, Dragon Ball Z was huge on
Mm-hmm.
Toonami, and I would watch that. I remember seeing it, in the late 90s, early 2000s. My cousins got me into the series because they would watch the Toonami block that they would have, Gundam and Dragon Ball Z. So just seeing a return to those characters, and it actually ended up being a well-made movie because there's been some really goofy Dragon Ball Z movies, some bad ones. There's been some great ones, like Bio Brawly, like why, but yeah, Battle of the Gods in general was just really cool. It was one of those movies that I watched and I felt like a kid again while watching it pretty much. Like once the logo came up in Dragon Ball Z and they played the theme briefly, the Chala, like that theme, I was like, oh, they got me. So that was just really cool. The whole movie in general was like a moment for me.
Nice, nice.
Have you seen that actually?
I
No.
have not, and I've been kicking myself.
You definitely have to check it out. It's really good.
Yeah, I really need to pick it up. Um, for me, geez, there was a lot this year to choose from in comic book movies alone. Uh, I gotta go with Guardians of the Galaxy, and everything with that movie was fantastic, but just to pick out one scene from that, probably near the very beginning when Star-Lord enters the temple. That moment, just right from there, you know the movie is just going to be a riot of just fun moments throughout, and it set the tone right away of what
Yeah.
it was going to be. I forget, have you seen Guardians yet?
I'm actually gonna probably watch that later tonight because I haven't seen it yet, and I know you're like you want to choke me because I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be checking that one out. Like I've only heard pretty good things from
Mhm.
everybody all around.
Yep. So yeah, that's definitely it for me. I won't say anything further because I will slip up and spoil something.
Spoil something.
Alright, so I guess we can move on to our next category, which is our most surprising movie of 2014.
Yeah, that goes to John Wick. Easy. It goes to John Wick because when I saw this trailer, I'm like, this is gonna be stupid as hell. Like I was making fun of it. I'm like, this looks stupid. I'm not gonna even give it the time. And then like I listened to what was I gonna say? The Drive Home Breakdown. I was about to say Breakdown Drive or whatever, but wrong way. But with Brent and Tony.
Hmm.
But and they did the breakdown for this, and usually I wait till I see the movie to listen to the show.
Hmm.
But I wasn't planning on seeing the movie, so I was just and I was I think I was on my way to work that day, and I just said, okay, let me check it out. I had nothing else to listen to. So I checked it out and I was like, wow, these guys actually really enjoy this movie. And then later on that day, my dad, he texted me, oh, my uncle was in town and he wanted to go see a movie. And we ended up seeing John Wick. So I knew, pretty much all the plot points and everything. But
Hmm.
even then, I still really enjoyed the movie. I was really surprised by it. I thought like it was really shot, the cinematography in it. All the fight scenes are really well done. There was nothing in there that you were like, oh, this is complete BS. There's some movies you see and the fight scenes, they just look like too CG. In
Hmm.
this, they look really he was almost hitting people. So it was really well made. It was just a movie that came out of nowhere because I didn't know about it until I saw like trailers rolling on IGN every time you try to see an article.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's my most surprising movie of the year, and I'll probably pick it up when it eventually comes out on Blu-ray.
Hmm. I would have went with John Wick, but there was one other movie this year that totally caught me by surprise just on how good it was. Because when I first heard about it, I was like, there's no fucking way that this movie is going to work. It's impossible.
Mm.
And of course, I'm referring to the Lego movie, which ended up
Huh.
being one of my favorite movies of the year.
That is a really good movie. But I'm I'm with you on there, honestly.
Yeah, as much as John Wick did surprise me, I think the Lego movie did more so simply because it was working with something that really shouldn't have a movie based around it.
Yeah, it shouldn't have worked, honestly.
Yeah, so yeah, that definitely ended up being my favorite movie, most surprising movie of the year. By far, everything from the acting to the plot was just fantastic, and it had a theme song that just got stuck in your head for months at a time.
Oh man, that was a good movie. That really was a good movie.
Alright, well, we've talked about the good, so let's talk about the bad. And that, of course, is our most disappointing movie of 2014.
AKA the Hercules category. Um, yeah, that's my most disappointing movie. I'm a fan of The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, from his pro wrestling days and even his movies. Like he's done some real good movies. There's been some some whack ones in there, sure.
Mm-hmm.
You can say that about every actor pretty much.
Yep.
Um, Probably Denzel, probably the only one that I can't think of like a bad movie he's been in. But anyway. So yeah, I was looking forward to this movie. I'm like, okay, we're getting back to Greek mythology on the big screen. The last one that I saw that was Greek mythology based was Clash of the Titans, a reboot, and I did not like that movie at all.
Mm-hmm.
I never even saw the Wrath of the Titans sequel. I was like, no, they're not getting me that time. So I was like, okay, cool. The Rock's playing Hercules. He's got the build for the Hercules, and I saw the trailer. I'm like, okay, this looks kind of goofy. I remember we actually discussed it on the show that some of the stuff looked kind of goofy, but even then I was still like, yeah. Then I actually bought the movie without seeing it. Like I didn't get to see it in theaters. I bought the Blu-ray. I got home. I I think my dad bought it too. It was, and then like we watched it, and then I was like, oh, why did I open the packaging? Like after I saw it, because pretty much what you saw in the trailer was like the first 2 minutes of the film, because they did a recap of all of Hercules' feats,
Yeah.
and and then Hercules is not a badass. He just has like a really good team behind him of like mercenaries that work for him, and then his cousin like creates all these elaborate stories about him, so they kind of try to ground the Hercules character in some reality.
Mm-hmm.
Even if at the end of the movie he tips over like this huge statue, it makes no damn sense. And then all the mythological stuff, they never show it past those like feet section, which is cousin retelling the tale, so it never really happened in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this point in the film where you think you're going to see like a centaur, and it ends up being just a shadow. Like it ends up being just a regular guy on a regular horse. I was so mad. Like there were so many missed opportunities with this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, what are they doing? Like why? Like I just didn't get it. Like, it did not make any sense for me why they took the route that they did with Hercules. So there hasn't been a great, like, Greek mythology film in, like, probably since, like, I want to say, what was the last one? Like, 300?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because, like,
probably.
Immortals was, like, that's
Alright.
another. That was another one that I bought and I didn't really like because they deviated so much from the original source material, and then I was about to say Clash of the Titans reboot. I didn't really enjoy that. I thought that the 80s version was so much better, but it's been a while, so I was hoping this was going to be a return to great, films, Greek mythology films, which is something that's always intrigued me, but it didn't end up being that way, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. I have yet to see it. Probably never will. So So
It's not worth your time, honestly.
yeah, I'll take your word for it on that. For me, probably the most disappointing movie this year, and I should have seen it a mile away before I went and saw it. Interstellar. I
Yeah, I've heard really mixed things about that movie.
Mm-hmm. Going back to Epic Battle Axe, I saw so many people posting on it, like, "Oh, it's so good, so fantastic." All the while, I was like, "Really?" I thought it was so bad. I mean, it looked good. I
Hmm.
did see it in IMAX, so it looked fantastic. It sounded fantastic, and starting off, it was pretty good, but then it just started getting worse and worse. Honestly, my favorite character in the entire film was a fucking robot who had more personality than anybody else seen in the movie. uh,
Wow.
and then the ending. Christopher Nolan turned into M. Night Shyamalan somehow to write that because fuck
It's a
that.
twist.
Yeah, watching it was like, did he just stop and let M. Night just finish this for him? Because this is bullshit. I can take a lot of stuff. I love JRPGs, the outlandish things that happen there and in comic books, but what they did for the ending of that movie, no, just no. That made 0 sense whatsoever.
Did they? I've heard a lot of comparisons to 2001. Have you seen 2001: The Space Odyssey?
I have never seen it, which is
Yeah,
on
because
my
that
to-do
has a
list.
really weird ending,
Hmm.
really strange ending. Like, it's also a space film,
Yeah, yeah.
obviously, but it has a really strange ending. So I'll be interested to see how you feel about it when you see 2001: A Space Odyssey, because that has really like what do you call it? Like an ambiguous ending, pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, Interstellar, it should have succeeded on so many levels, but yeah, not for me. It was
I gave up on Nolan after Dark Knight Returns.
I kind of gave up on him after The Dark Knight, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. There's something about his movies I can never go back and watch again. I think my favorite Nolan movie is probably Inception.
Inception was really good. Like I like Inception, Memento, the first two Batmans. I didn't like the third one at all.
Hmm. All right. Well, let's talk about some stuff we actually did like this year,
Mm.
and that's our top three movies of 2014.
Yeah, I'm gonna take one that you spoke about earlier, and number three for me would be the Lego Movie,
Hmm.
because all the reasons you said, pretty much. It was a film that shouldn't have worked. Uh, they even had Batman in there, which shouldn't have worked either, but he
Played by
stole the
Will Arnett
show.
of all people.
He he stole the show in that movie, which was great. Um, it was really cool. My number two movie would be Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods, since I really enjoyed that movie. Number one for me would be X-Men Days of Future Past, which I also really enjoyed.
Hmm. Cool. Uh, for me, my number three has to be Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
I need to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, you really do. Just everything they did with that movie. And a lot of it, no actual spoken dialogue between the apes, all sign language with subtitles. What they did was just incredible.
Hmm.
And the story was just unbelievably good. Secondly would be Captain America, the Winter Soldier. By far, I think, one of the best Earth-based Marvel movies that have
Hmm.
been done, and just a great political drama in itself, and how they absolutely changed the landscape of the cinematic universe in that movie alone was incredible. And of course, my number one is the movie that I saw 7 times in theaters this year,
Guardians.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Just for
Mm.
the fact that it's such a fun movie, fantastic soundtrack that I listen to every chance I get, especially at work. Yeah, everything about that movie I just love, and I've actually watched it 3 times since I bought the Blu-ray too. So
Wow.
it's definitely become on par with the Avengers for me in regards to something I will probably watch once every month
Mhm.
for the next year.
Well, yeah, I'm actually gonna swap out Dragon Ball Z now that I think of it, and put in the Amazing Spider-Man 2,
hmm
which I know a lot of people did not like that movie, but I really enjoyed it. It was really depressing, to be honest, the movie as a whole.
hmm
But what they did with the Spider-Man character, I thought was really cool, and I think Andrew Garfield plays a great Peter Parker.
hmm
It's sad that there seems to be like no direction whatsoever over at Sony to where they're taking the damn Spider-Man character, because
hmm
this movie, it's number two for me because I really enjoyed it, but even I have to say that the movie was all over the place when it came to all the different characters.
hmm
It wasn't nowhere near as bad as Spider-Man 3, because I thought the acting was great for Emma Watson, not Emma Watson, Emma Stone, right?
hmm
And Andrew Garfield. Emma Watson's the one from fucking Harry Potter. But yeah, I thought their acting was so good that it really held the film together, even if there was some, some incoherent stuff going on.
hmm
And I just thought the comedy was great when it came to Spider-Man. It really it felt like we were seeing Spider-Man on screen for the first time, truly. Like the version that was in the comics and was in the animated series that fans know. But yeah, it's sad to see that Sony has no directions. Like they don't know if the third movie's happening. Like this fucking Aunt May rumor that was going around. There's that rumor that uh, Disney has finally struck a deal with Sony to get Spider-Man in the next Captain America Civil War. I don't know what the hell is going on with Spider-Man right now. Like, I really don't.
Yeah,
Um,
the Sony should just give up and give them back to Marvel at this point, or work in
like,
a deal.
yeah, like, do something, because this Sinister Six stuff, I honestly don't think that's going to work. I think that's going to fall apart. Same thing with another Spider-Man movie. I don't know. Like, they had a real good foundation with the first film.
hmm
Second film, I really, really enjoyed it. Even if I can admit it has a bunch of problems.
hmm
Then the third film, it just feels like it's in development hell as of right now. And they're going to switch Spider-Man. I don't know if they're going to try to go the different Spider-Man, like try to do Miles Morales instead of Peter Parker.
hmm
That'd be interesting to see if they actually try to pull that off and how pissed people will be. I don't think the comic book fans would be pissed. I think the larger public would, because they know Peter Parker. Even the most novice fan of Spider-Man knows Peter, but
hmm
they don't know Miles Morales. Um, so we'll see what happens.
Yep. All right. Well, moving on to next, our favorite movie trailer of the year. Of course, this could be something that came out this year or is releasing next year.
It's easy for me.
Oh
Yep. Jurassic World.
yeah.
I am a huge Jurassic Park fan. I can honestly say Jurassic Park, the first movie, is my favorite movie of all time. And I know that's kind of ridiculous to a lot of people. They're like, oh, why don't you have something more like dramatic, like, and well written like Pulp Fiction, or, like all these movies, the greatest movies, Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane kiss my ass. Like Jurassic Park is the shit. Like I don't care. Like it's goofy. I've watched it. I know all the mistakes in the movie. I can point them all out. I could like pretty much recite the whole damn dialogue. That's what I do with my cousin every time I see him. We both sit down and watch the movie, point out all the mistakes, and it's just amazing. So the Jurassic World trailer came out, and I was at work, and I saw it like on my phone, which is small screen. It's an iPhone. Then I got home and actually saw it like on the computer on a bigger screen. I'm like, wow, this looks crazy. Like they have, the new like crocodilian dinosaur that's coming out the water, like if it's SeaWorld,
hmm
because which is crazy. They have like these circular like what do you call those? Like a theme park. I would say ride or a trolley or something. You know, the circular
Yeah,
sphere
the
ones where the
dome
kids are.
things.
Yeah, the dome things that the kids are. Like just that first shot where you see them going in, and they have the old like opening, like from Jurassic Park, and now there's some new dinosaur, which is supposed to be some sort of hybrid, which is weird. That's
Hmm.
probably the weirdest thing about the trailer. Like, I don't know how I felt about that. But I've watched it back a few times, and I'm like, man, I'm really excited for this. Like, it's been a while since we've seen a Jurassic Park movie. The last one was 2001, I
Oh,
want to say.
yeah.
Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
God, yes.
that was a long time ago, so...
Hmm.
Um, Jurassic Park, my favorite movie of all time. I love The Lost World. I like 3. I know a lot of people hate 3. But yeah, I'm just really excited to see what they do with this franchise now.
Hmm.
Um, those little like subtle notes too of the John Williams score
Yeah.
in the damn trailer just like hit me like 'cause that's like one of the greatest scores ever. Like just in general, John Williams is a freaking genius. Like if I would meet him, like I would love to like shake his hand and hug him and be like, he created some of the most memorable music of all time. Like just go down on this like Star Wars, E.T., like
Hmm.
Jurassic Park. It's crazy how many scores John Williams has made. But anyway, back to Jurassic World. Definitely 100%. We'll see this in the movie theaters on the day of its release. Like, and I don't do that much, honestly, when it comes to movies. So
Hmm.
have to see this in movie theaters, even if it sucks.
That's a good choice. That was a really,
Hmm.
really fantastic trailer. I'll give it props. For me, for a while it was Avengers Age of Ultron because I am incredibly stoked for that movie. Ultron's one of my favorite villains of all time.
Hmm.
Um, but there was one trailer that really topped it, and it's only a teaser. And of course, I'm referring
Oh, Star Wars.
Star Wars. Definitely Star Wars. If there's one thing that can maybe beat out my excitement for anything Marvel, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Simply because this was only a teaser, but it showed so much just to refer, to, just to reinstate the fact that this is going old school Star Wars.
Yeah.
It looks dark, it looks gritty. I even like the new lightsaber. I know a lot of people hated it, but that looks cool. The new droid that they showed off looked really cool, and especially after the fact that they revealed, oh yeah, it's a practical
Yeah.
effect, not CGI.
Yeah.
That was just incredible. And then, of course, the last part, the voice going and the light, and you see the Millennium Falcon with that John Williams score.
Yeah. Full
Getting
circle
back,
there.
yeah. Connections, we can make them. Um, yeah, I, I was smiling so happily when I saw that. I was at work at the time too, so I said screw it to my data usage and actually watched the trailer like 3 times while at work.
Wow.
Yeah, it blew my mind so much and got me so excited for that movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
I had a strange reaction to the trailer because I heard it was out. I went on YouTube and I typed it in,
mhm.
and I got suckered into watching one of the fake ones. So I had like one, this is Star Wars. Like I'm sure you did too. Like you
Mhm.
grew up with Star Wars.
Yep.
Star Wars is very special to so many generations
Mhm.
of nerdy kids around the world.
Yep.
So I sat down, and then in this version, the theme starts playing right away, and you see like Lucasfilm, and like it was really well made. And then I was like, this is fake. And then that kind of like punched me in the gut. Like it kind of killed my anticipation. And then I found like the actual real one,
Mhm.
and I watched it, and I guess because of the experience that I just had, I didn't like it as much. Like it's a good trailer. There wasn't too much there for me personally,
Mhm.
but when you go like scene by scene and see how much detail is put into it, the scene that I really liked was the X-wings over that
Mhm.
body of water.
Yep.
It just looked like really cool. And then that last shot, like you said, with the Millennium Falcon flipping over,
Mhm.
and then that score hitting. but I like the direction that they showed in the teaser. That it looks more grounded. I know people are like, "Oh my God, it's a black stormtrooper!" Like they were freaking out. Like I thought it was cool that you see somebody different. I don't know if he's necessarily a stormtrooper or he's just wearing the outfit like they did.
He is a stormtrooper. They
Oh,
have
he is?
confirmed that. Yep.
Okay. That's interesting. Because I was thinking that maybe he was wearing some, you know how they did in first Star Wars movie. Well,
Yeah.
you know the Star Wars movie, not the episode 1, the good first Star Wars movie.
Yes.
But, and it looks more grounded. Just the cinematography looks like we're not going to be over, like it's going to be OD CG effects. Of course they're going to be there, but like you said, it looks more practical. So.
Yep. So, before we move on to our next category, I just want to say a special little shout out to one other trailer, and that of course was the Taken 3 trailer that came out this past week.
That was pretty good, yeah.
If anybody hasn't seen that yet, go look up Taken 3 music video. Was it People Stop Taking My Shit, or People Are Taking My Shit?
Oh, wait. This is the actual thing? I thought you were talking about the actual trailer.
No! This is an actual trailer, though. It's, it should be here in my history somewhere because I watched it again today. Taken 3 music video, Stop Taking My Shit, 2014, Liam Neeson song HD.
Wow. I gotta check that out then. That's funny. I thought you were talking about the trailer because the trailer actually was pretty good.
Yeah,
but I was like, oh, another one?
yeah, this music video just tells you right away. It's like, they even know how silly it's gone now, so they're just basically going full on, like, Die Hard with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, special shout out to that trailer. So with that, let's dive into our final movie category. Wow, we have used up a lot of time.
Yeah.
Our most anticipated movies of 2015. Let's do the same thing we did with games. 5 movies, probably a little quicker. So what's your 5 of your most anticipated movies for 2015?
Yeah, we've talked about these pretty much. Jurassic World, Star Wars, the latest one, Episode 7. Remind me what else comes out next year. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I know there's other like superhero films like the new Avengers and some. I know there has to be something else that comes out next year. I don't know if you want to rattle some stuff off while I look for like the upcoming films in 2015.
Let's see. Pixar's got their next batch of movies. The Inside one, I can't remember the full name of right now. We are well prepared, folks. Well, while you're looking up a list, I'll just do my 5 then. Kill some time. Jurassic World is definitely up there. Like you, I was hooked in by the trailer. Loved the original movie. Maybe not as much as you, but it holds a special place in my heart from my childhood. Taken 3 is up there now. I love Liam Neeson, and I've enjoyed the Taken movies so far. 1 was absolutely fantastic, and it's probably up there as like one of my favorite movies, probably in the top 20 somewhere. So yeah, I'm excited for Taken 3. Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I was going to say The Force Unleashed for a second, but The Force Awakens. Really, really excited for that movie, like beyond believably excited. Avengers: Age of Ultron, which I am incredibly excited for. Probably the first Avengers movie was my favorite Marvel movie up until Guardians of the Galaxy. And I think I saw Avengers in theaters 5 times. No, wait, I saw it in theaters 7 times. 6 times while it was out, 3 in IMAX, 3 in regular 3D, and I saw a reviewing of it this past winter, actually. So yeah, really excited for Age of Ultron. Like I mentioned earlier, it stars one of my favorite villains of all time, and it looks like they've done a badass job with him. And last on my 5 here is going to be Ant-Man, because I love Ant-Man from the comics, and hopefully with this movie he can get some goddamn respect for once. Because everybody makes fun of Ant-Man like people make fun of Aquaman.
So, looking up a list here of most popular films of 2015, Terminator Genesis.
Oh, I forgot about
Uh,
that.
Definitely have to put that on my list. I'm definitely a fan of the Terminator franchise of movies. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this, and if it's a reboot or reimagining, whatever the hell it ends up being. The Ratchet and Clank movie finally comes out next year, which is a CG film by I think it's like a collaboration between Sony Pictures and some other company. So I'm intrigued to see how that turns out
Mm-hmm.
as being like one of Sony's big properties that will work hopefully well when it comes, the CG.
Mm-hmm.
But and the last one here that I'm looking at, Ted 2. Ted, the original one, was hilarious. I didn't even know they were making a second one until I saw this list. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, looking pretty good for 2015. I know that the list was kind of top heavy. The first three are big deals, but yeah. Another Paranormal Activity? What the hell?
Yeah, there is one movie we both forgot to mention, and I'm sure it's anybody who listens to this podcast, whoever's left listening to this,
Yeah.
is extremely excited for. We're extremely excited for 50 Shades of Grey.
No. No. Hell no.
Remember how that was supposed to open up against Guardians of the Galaxy for the longest time?
Yeah.
And now it's opening up against another comic book film, actually, Kingsman: The Secret Service. So.
This is funny. I'm reading this list and they have like one of those tentative titles and it says Resident Evil 6. And I just keep thinking of the video game. Oh, like a third of the movie is going to be fucking Leon and then the other one's going to be Ada and then yeah, it's a good list though. Like there's some really big heavy hitters next year when it comes to movies.
Mm-hmm. And the Peanuts movie's out next year too. I forgot about that.
I didn't know that was coming out next year.
Yeah.
John Wick 2? No.
Oh, we can dream. We
Mm-hmm.
can dream. Unfortunately, instead of John Wick 2, we're getting Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. That exists for whatever fucking reason.
I don't know. Well, they made grown-ups too, so,
True. There's going to be crap. Oh well. Alright, well, that does it for our movie categories. Now a bunch of random categories that I threw together just out of other stuff. First off, our favorite new TV show that came out this year.
Favorite new TV show? Oh, yeah, I didn't add that to my list. Whoops. But favorite new TV show that came out this year? Yeah, what did I watch this year that was new? I think all the stuff that I watched was disappointing. I didn't like Gotham. That's a whole other podcast. Favorite new, what new TV shows came out this year that you could think of? I can't think of anything.
Let's see. Well, you mentioned Gotham. As superheroes, we had Flash. There was Constantine. True Detective was this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, that's the only ones that come to my mind right now.
Yeah, I can't think of any. I guess I didn't watch enough TV, or I just spent the whole year watching Sopranos. But new TV series Sopranos came out in 1999. Yeah, and I guess it just shows that this was a year of me watching old stuff, pretty much. So yeah, I guess I'd have to pass on that.
Fair enough. For me, yeah, I've got to go with the DC comic book show. No,
Gotham?
I'm not going to say Gotham. I have enjoyed Gotham, though. It got really good after.
Okay.
So I have to go with Flash because it's funny. It keeps, yes, it exists in the same universe as Arrow, and they did do the little crossover event and whatnot. but it's a lot more colorful and comic booky than what Arrow is. It's just more fun and lively.
Hmm.
So yeah, I've got to go with Flash as my favorite new TV show. And I'm going to
Sounds
assume the
good.
second category that I added in, which you probably forgot to add, favorite TV season of an existing show.
Favorite TV season? Damn it. I know I've watched something
Uh,
this year.
The Walking Dead, Game of
Well, Game of
Thrones.
Thrones would be the latest thing, right? That came out earlier this year
Hmm.
that I could think of, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to go with Game of Thrones because I think that's the only new thing that I kept up with pretty much. Because I watched South Park, but that was the season from the year before.
Hmm.
Um,
South Park was really good this year.
yeah, I need to catch up on that. But yeah, I'll go with Game of Thrones. This last season of Game of Thrones was quite good. Wiener, 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 wiener.
For me, geez, we mentioned South Park. I really should use that because the new season was so fantastic. But going back to, like I said, with Flash, my favorite season probably was the newest season of Arrow so far.
Flush. Oh.
Because they've only gotten better with Arrow. Like every episode this season was just so good. One episode after another was excellent. Same thing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., really. That got incredible. But the mid-season finale of Arrow did something that I don't think any other TV show did this year. Game of Thrones, definitely, that's a given. That's shock-worthy almost every episode. But for Arrow to pull off something extremely shock-worthy and left me, like, just grabbing my chair and staring at the screen going, they just did that? Like a red wedding type moment? Yeah, that really has stuck with me, so I've got to go with Arrow for this category.
Sounds good.
Alright, so the next category in our randoms, favorite news story that you remember from this year. Gaming, non-gaming, anything in general.
Uh, so a news story. I'll try to keep it in the realm of something nerdy.
Hmm.
Um, Movies or comics or uh, let's see. There was a lot of bad news stories to be honest. A lot of negative stuff that happened this year with Gamergate and all that garbage.
Hmm.
But one that I think is pretty cool is CM Punk is writing some comic books for Marvel Comics. He's going to be doing the annual Thor, which comes out I think sometime in February, if
Yep,
I don't want to if I'm not mistaken.
right then, yep.
So I think that's really cool because I'm a fan of CM Punk. I know he's a huge fan of comic books, so it's cool that he finally gets to do something that I'm sure has been his dream for many years, and that's write some comic books for Marvel Comics.
Hmm. For me, I'm going to have to go with just because it came out of the blue one day, like wasn't really expected, and that was DC revealing their slate of movies coming up.
Yeah, that was a big one. Like 3,000 freaking movies coming.
Yeah, here's everything we have leading up to the year 2020. Of course, we've
Hmm.
left Green Lantern for last because nobody cared about the last movie.
Poor
uh,
Ryan Reynolds.
yeah. So yeah, that's probably my favorite news story from this year. Just the reveal of that coming out. Uh, well, there was one other one, but we've got another category coming up, which I'll mention that in a bit.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was mine for this year. So moving onwards, our favorite podcast of the year. Because both of us both listen to quite a few podcasts.
I listen to too many podcasts.
Yeah.
I'm not productive. Mine's gonna go to Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast,
Hmm.
just for the sake that he makes two podcasts a week. Like if it wasn't, of course, I'd pick like Epic Battle Axe, which ended this year, unfortunately, which is really sad.
Hmm.
And the Axe Factor, which I love too, but I gotta go with Stone Cold because it's just something I listen to more often. On my way to work, on my way home from work, on lunch,
Mm-hmm.
and since I love pro wrestling, out of all the podcasts that are out there, he focuses a lot on pro wrestling. Like Jericho, I love his podcast too, but he does a lot of like entertainment stuff. Like he'll have people from the world of television, film, and Stone Cold kind of keeps it within, wrestling, which
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy. So yeah, that'll be my favorite podcast of the year, the Steve Austin Show.
Okay, that's a good choice. Yeah, like yourself, I listen to way too many. Some
The Gimmick Box.
Some honorable mentions, of course, Podcast Beyond, Keeping It Real, and fuck, I can't remember the name of IGN's TV show podcast now, but
Channel surfing, is it?
yes, Channel Surfing, right. Those are all good, and there's a ton more. Like you said, Austin's podcast is good, same as Jericho's and JR's. But unlike you, I will give respect where respect is due, and list Epic Battle Cry as my favorite podcast of this year. Just because it is so sad to see them go. Of course, we still got Brent and Lauren doing the new podcast, whichever name that's going to be called after the X Factor, and Brent and Tony are doing the Drive Home Breakdown still from time to time. God only knows what DK is doing. He's off on a ranch somewhere.
Yeah, he's
He's taking it
compiling
easy.
just like huge puns, just like weapons of mass destructions of puns, stockpiling puns somewhere.
But yeah, I've got to give it up for Epic Battle Cry this year, so. Alright.
Yeah, I would have given it probably that's close to the top for me, but just since it ended and there hasn't been a lot of episodes,
Yeah.
and just more in terms of consistency, that's why I give it to Steve Austin.
Alright, well, moving onwards to a category everybody here in the CanUK podcast loves, and that's wrestling. We have some involvement or enjoyment from it in some way, shape, or form. So, going into our next category, it's our favorite wrestling moment from 2014. And there have been quite a few of them.
There's been a lot this year. I don't know what should I pick because I'm trying to think. All the stuff that happened at WrestleMania was really memorable.
Yep.
From the intro with Rock, Hogan, and Austin from the Silver Dome. That could be my favorite wrestling moment, just because they ribbed him so bad over that, just the Silver Dome. Daniel Bryan finally winning the championship after all the stuff he went up against the Authority. Dolph Ziggler, putting the Authority out of power at Survivor Series with Sting. I think I'm going to give it to that, honestly, because it's like two moments in one. First being Sting stepping foot in the WWE for the first time ever. He was the last huge star from WCW who was really the homebred WCW guy who never stepped foot in WWE until the Survivor Series pay-per-view. And it was just really cool to finally see him there.
Yeah.
It's really cool that they're leading up to a match potentially with Triple H at WrestleMania. Dolph Ziggler finally got his due. He put him over really strong in the Survivor Series. I was surprised that Cena got eliminated. I was like, what? They're actually doing this? Super Cena's not going to come back? And I like Cena. I'm not one of those people who hate him. But it's just really cool. It's like 2 for 1. Like the Daniel Bryan moment was great too. But this just was like 2 moments in one in the same match in the same night. So.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. Well, less so on the Ziggler part, but more so on Sting actually making a return or making his grand entrance into the WWE. Because as soon as he started coming out, I became a 10-year-old again. Honestly, I think that was the most excited I've been watching wrestling for a very long time, marking out like I haven't done for ages now from
Yeah.
WWE content.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good moments this year. There's been some bad ones too.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar beating Undertaker. That
Mm,
was shocking. I wouldn't say that's like a favorite moment.
no.
I thought it was really cool when The Rock came out of nowhere and interrupted Rusev. That
Mm,
was a really good moment.
yeah, that was a nice surprise.
Yeah, there was some good stuff this year. I think the company's moving in a good direction with the new crop of talent.
Yep. And if NXT is any proof, hopefully the future's bright.
Yeah, I need to watch the latest special. I don't think I watched it because I was kind of pissed that it's here in my hometown, Orlando,
Mhm.
and to get tickets for like those special events is ridiculous because
Mhm.
if you go to like a regular NXT event, like a taping,
Mhm.
at the end of the show they start selling tickets for the next event.
Yeah.
But by the time you get out the arena, there's already like a line of people waiting to buy those tickets for the next event. So it's pretty much sold out from the get-go.
Mhm.
So yeah, I didn't watch it because I was like, no. I was kind of frustrated that I haven't been able to go to one of the big WWE Network events. So
Mhm. All right. Well, moving onwards, our favorite YouTube/viral video of the year.
huh. Usually videos like this stick out.
Mhm.
Like a viral video that went around. Uh, can't think of anything that I saw this year that was like one of those crazy like Nintendo 64 kid moments. That video's still funny. Can't think of anything that I just like laugh so hard. It's probably something. I can't think of any. What's yours?
I've got to give up mine up to something that came out only very recently, and that's the mid-season finale of Epic Rap Battles of History, Steven Spielberg versus Alfred Hitchcock. Because that's probably the best epic rap battle those guys have done yet.
hmm
It's just so good. Have you watched it yet?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you need to watch it. It's just so fantastic. Like it's good, then it gets better, then it gets epic.
hmm
uh, some of the other ones that kind of stand out to me,
Oh, I know the one.
the Zelda rap battle was pretty good, or rap song was really good.
I know which video. I don't
Okay.
know if it was from this year or from last year. The guy who went around saying "fuck her right in the pussy."
What?
You never seen that one?
I never seen that one.
Oh man, you have to watch that. It's so funny. Like it's staged,
Mhm.
but it's like it's so damn funny. Like there's just like this old bum on
Mhm.
the street and some lady. It's supposed to be like a newscaster, caster, like interviewing a reporter.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, I was just sitting on my front porch, and then, yeah, I fucked her right in the pussy. And he looks at the camera, and then, and then he does it again, like with another another like reporter, and then asking him about like I don't know if it was the weather or something happened. And he's like, yeah, fuck her right in the pussy. It was so funny, man. You gotta look it up. You have to look it up.
Okay, I'll try and look it up after we're done recording.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
crazy.
All right. So our final category here, and that is this can be generalized into anything really. Our biggest surprise of 2014.
Huh. Yeah, anything is like hard because there's so much stuff that happened in gaming and so much stuff that happened in film
Mhm.
and so much stuff that happened in wrestling.
Mhm.
Um,
Nintendo being successful for once.
that we're positive about Nintendo. Yeah, it's the biggest surprise of the year. Huh. I think I'm gonna go with like a wrestling one, and that is the whole CM Punk situation.
Okay.
Uh, I know he was having issues in WWE. Like you could tell he's been having issues for a while. But just everything around it and how honest he was when he finally spoke to Cole Cabana on his Art of Wrestling podcast, like how honest he was, and just hearing that story in general was just really surprising about all the things that happened to him. And of course, like everybody says, that's his side of the story, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
But I don't think he would be the type of person to just bullshit people just to bullshit people. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, he doesn't seem like that type of person. He seems like a straight shooter, and I think that's probably what led to a lot of the problems that he had with the company.
Mhm.
He kind of maybe he was like he says it in the podcast that he wasn't the easiest person to deal with. Um, so I don't know, just that whole situation, and then McMahon's response on Steve Austin's podcast
Mhm.
um, about CM Punk and how direct Austin was, and about, hey, you want to speak about CM Punk or not?
Mhm.
Um, just the whole fiasco in general was probably the biggest surprise, and how that blew up, and how he just disappeared, and then people were speculating, oh, he'll just be back for WrestleMania. Oh, no, he'll be back at the Chicago pay-per-view. Oh, no, he'll be back this, he'll be back then, and he just never came back.
Mhm.
And then he signs with UFC. So that's just an even bigger surprise. Like, just everything CM Punk related pretty much was a ridiculously like huge surprise, but especially the last one, signing to UFC.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely a big surprise this year. For me, I've got to go into the realm of movies and comics again, and that's just Marvel revealing their Phase 3 movies. To be specific, revealing that they're actually doing Miss Marvel, Black Panther, Inhumans, and that the third Avengers movie is actually going to be a two-parter dealing with the Infinity Gauntlet and Thanos.
Hmm.
Just to know that they've got this like epic, epic thing planned out just so far away. And of course, out of their big reveals, the fact that Captain America 3 will be,
Civil War, right?
yeah, loosely based around Civil War, and the fact that they've got Robert Downey Jr. into that movie, along with I'm going to butcher his name, Chadwick Boseman playing Black Panther.
Hmm.
So yeah, that
Yeah, that's interesting to see how that's going to turn out, especially with all the rumors of the inclusion of Spider-Man.
Well,
Um,
apparently there's two different scripts that they have for the movie. One with just Black Panther and the other one with Black Panther and Spider-Man. So,
I wish like, well, I was about to say Marvel, but Disney would just like like just bring all these characters under the same umbrella.
hmm
I would just love to see that, like Spider-Man come under the Disney umbrella, the X-Men come under the Disney. Just imagine how freaking epic that would be.
hmm
Like you would have like, even if they got the same actors, like say they got like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and then he's like, he's interacting with like Robert Downey Jr. Like that would just be weird, but so cool
hmm
at the same way, at the same time. Like I wish they would all just be under the same umbrella.
Yeah, I can see them maybe getting Spider-Man back just through all the trouble that Sony's going through now,
Yeah.
and the fact that Spider-Man's probably the easiest one to get back due to all like the well, as much as we did enjoy the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, they're not perfect and they didn't do
Yeah,
that
they weren't
good.
as successful as the original trilogy.
Yeah, so Sony maybe like, well, it shows they've already had like talks with Marvel about doing something, so they might be more willing to sell back the character, and
Mhm.
I don't see the X-Men moving from Fox, which is kind of okay because Marvel is going to bring in the Inhumans anyway, so that
Mhm.
they can do their X-Men thing with the Inhumans, and if Days of Future Past was any indication, I think X-Men will be okay moving forwards.
Yeah, they will.
Uh, Fox might give up Fantastic Four. I hope to God they give up Fantastic Four because everything I've heard about that new movie is just bullshit.
Hmm.
So yeah, hopefully that happens. And I think that's all that's really left of characters that Marvel doesn't own. I think Namor's still up in the air where he's at. Yeah.
Who owns Blade?
Marvel.
They do?
Marvel
Okay.
got the rights to Blade back.
Okay.
Blade, Ghost Rider, and Punisher are all back at Marvel.
All right.
We'll probably never see a movie from either one of those
They
three.
probably won't.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, that was my big surprise of 2014, and whew, oh man, yeah,
That was a long show.
yeah, we just got through it. Uh, I guess we can briefly go over been playing, been watching, and been reading.
Yeah.
I won't go into any great detail because I might go into more detail in part 2 or part 3. My been playing has been simply I've played Valiant Hearts: The Great War and a ton of GTA 5. I also finished up Final Fantasy 13.
No.
I loaded up, like a friend of mine ages ago, about, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago now, gave me his save file for 13.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was bored last night, I decided to put it in and do it.
Ooh.
Fuck that ending. Fuck that ending just as bad as the rest of the goddamn game. It made me want to go play Ride to Hell. It was that bad.
Wow. That was bad.
So what about you? What have you been playing?
So I've been playing 2 games as of right now. There's more, but most recently, Assassin's Creed Unity on up to sequence 6, and there's 12. So I'm roughly about halfway through the game. I am just going through the story missions. I'm not trying to do all the side stuff like I tried to do on Far Cry. I'm just, if I need to get to synchronize and get to like a high point, and I'm close to it, I'll do that, but I'm not like actively going around the whole map and doing all the crazy stuff. Doing some of the side missions to unlock some weapons and stuff, but I'm pretty much sticking to the story. I haven't had any issues yet when it comes to glitches and things of that nature. There's some frame rate dips every now and then, but it's the usual Assassin's Creed, and there's, pop-in of characters sometimes here or there. But in general, I haven't had the crazy issues that some people had of like falling through the map and half missing faces. And yeah, I didn't have that. But of course, they've patched it by now. And I got it on the cheap too. There was a deal on Newegg that had like a digital code for $25. So
Okay, that's
I was like, yeah, I'll get it on Xbox One. I got all my third-party stuff on PS4, but for that price, I was like, hell, I'll get it on there. And I heard it runs better on Xbox One, which is weird. So I figured, hey, I got the option. I'll try it out. So in terms of the story, it's good. But it's, typical Assassin's Creed stuff. The character model of Arno looks a lot like Ezio. Like, too much like Ezio, in my opinion. But it's a good game. It isn't anything that, reinvents the wheel. I'm enjoying it. So, and that says a lot compared to Assassin's Creed 3, which I never even got halfway through. I never even got past Atham. So, yeah, it's not a bad game. It's not a great game. I don't see it coming on showing up on my top 5 games of the year, but it's something I'm enjoying playing, and I'm trying to stick to it. Like, I just want to finish it. So this has been a problem for me this year. And then the last game, the second game that I'm playing is Danganronpa on the Vita. Danganronpa. But it hasn't been much, honestly. I just did pretty much like the prologue sequence where your character starts speaking about him being, just a regular Joe, like just an average person, and then he gets an invitation to go to the school, and then everything just goes crazy, like, and he gets like warped into this new dimension or whatever it is, and then you meet all the characters, and they all introduce themselves. They're all really quirky, like really strange. They're all, pros at different things like baseball and the fashionista, and like it's just really weird. It's so Japanese. But I'm looking forward to playing that more. I've just been sticking to Assassin's Creed mainly, so I'm sure once I get past, I finish up Assassin's Creed, I'll jump back into Danganronpa. If I don't sooner, which I'm sure I probably will.
Yeah, I can promise you as soon as you finish up Chapter 1, you're going to be hooked. You will not put it down after that.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, that it gets like really like one of those games that can't put down.
Alright, well, moving on to our been watching section. For myself, I have The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies. Good conclusion. Wasn't, great, but it was still good. I enjoyed it. Up until the point where it froze. Fuck the theater.
The TV. In the theater?
Yeah, on IMAX, too.
Wow.
Yeah, it was stuck on Thorin's face for a good 20 minutes. And then we were moved to a normal 3D theater. Plus, we all got 2 free movie passes, so...
That's not bad.
Yeah. So yeah, I've watched that. Before we started recording, I think I burned through 4 or 5 episodes of Attack on Titan. Really enjoying that. I've gotten hooked. And the other little thing I watched, I saw The Interview.
How was it?
Let me just check, see if North Korea isn't going to bomb me right now. But
we get North Korea to get Spider-Man back for us, so they get hack Sony again.
As far as the movie goes, going into it with realistic expectations, it was good. I enjoyed it. Again, Polygon can go suck a dick because their review was horrible.
Yeah, it's a Seth Rogen movie. Like, what do you expect? Like,
that was the very
Pineapple Express. Like, come on, guys.
That was the very first comment on the Polygon review was, so you're telling me it's a Seth Rogen and James Franco movie? That was it.
I was dying at, what was it? I think it was Aussie Legend that like retweeted like Seth Rogen. Like somebody did a review of the movie. And then Seth Rogen like tweeted back, like, go fuck yourself. It was so funny. I was dying. I'm like, this is great. I love Seth Rogen.
Well, if you want to read a good review of the movie, go to IGN and read Roth Cornet's review. Perfect review, perfect summary of the movie. Good. Second act, kind of fades down a bit. Okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, overall it was enjoyable. The whole hubbub was them making fun of North Korea. No, they're making fun of Americans and their view on things, really.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So, yeah, it was enjoyable. It was fun. If you get the chance to watch it, watch it.
I probably will. I know it's up on, like, YouTube on demand and, like, some other services. So I might watch it there.
Yeah, I believe it's up on Xbox and PSN if either service gets back up and running again.
If that works.
Yeah. Yeah, that does it for me. What about yourself?
So, what have I been watching TV-wise? Not really much. Only thing I saw in recent memory was Exodus. What is it? Gods and Kings?
Okay,
which is the story of Moses by Ridley Scott. I enjoyed the movie. I saw it with like my dad and uncle, and they didn't really like the movie because they thought it deviated too much from the original actual story of Moses in the Bible, in Exodus. But I think all the stories, honestly, all the depictions of Moses, whether it's like Prince of Egypt, the animated movie, or the original Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston, like they all deviate. Like they're not true interpretations, to be honest. But I enjoyed it for what it was. Like I know they had a lot of issues with certain things in the movie, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a well-made movie, and I know they criticized like the special effects. They said they spent so much on the sets and stuff in the first half of the movie that at the end they didn't really do much with the special effects when it came to the plagues and the parting of the sea and I thought this special effects was great. I thought they were watching another movie, to be honest, because like the special effects of all the plagues look really good in my opinion. They did different things. They didn't part the Red Sea. Like Ridley Scott went for like a naturalistic approach, if you could say that, of all these supernatural elements. So like, for example, instead of parting the Red Sea with like the staff, like we've seen that interpretation before, I guess God essentially sends a I don't know if it's God or it's just coincidence, and there's like this like asteroid, I guess, comes out, and then you see like this burn. It goes into the ocean, and then a little bit later, the ocean starts retreating. So essentially, it's like an earthquake happens, and the water splits one way, and then like a tsunami comes back and closes everything up. Okay. And then he treats Guy like it isn't just his voice that Moses is hearing. It's this young child who's speaking to him. So it's like a unique interpretation. Basically, Moses goes up to Mount Sinai and he falls on some rocks and he hits his head, and this is the first time he sees the kid and the burning bush, and then the kid speaks to him. That ends up being God. So it kind of makes him like, I don't know, like Moses was crazy, but then there's all these coincidental things that happen, like the plagues, and it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I thought the actors there. I know there's been a lot of controversy that Hollywood was whitewashing the Moses movie because Moses is played by Christian Bale, which I didn't mind that much, to be honest. What do you expect as Hollywood? But for what it was, I enjoyed it, and I think I might pick it up when it comes out on Blu-ray, just to see all what Ridley Scott has to say about it on the commentary, and where he was coming from in terms of his own interpretation, and the special effects bonus features, like how they did all that stuff. So it was intriguing because in terms of the visuals, the movie looked great. Like Egypt looked great. All the sets, like the actual physical sets, looked amazing. It was really epic. So I enjoyed the movie for what it was.
Cool.
So yeah, that's it for me.
All right. Been reading. I've got nothing.
Yeah, I've got nothing either. I haven't read comics in a while, so.
Yeah. All right, so that leaves us with shameless self-promotion. For myself, there's my Game of Thrones live stream that I put up on YouTube. A couple new episodes of Ride to Hell Retribution went up. Today I put up a new episode of Hate for Your Boyfriend. And there's my top 11 games of 2014 list that went up as well.
And
as you mentioned earlier, you've got your top 10 coming up?
Yep, it's going to be coming. Hopefully January 2nd will be the day that it goes live, because I want to try to do some top 5 videos on Fridays. I don't know how often I'll do them, but I want to be more active on my YouTube channel, which I'm really not. I'm active when it comes to watching other people's videos and interacting with others, but when it comes to doing my own shit, I haven't done nothing. So we'll see. Hopefully 2015 turns out better, because this year, once again, I bought so much stuff that I really didn't get through much of it at all. I've already got I've got like the first 6 months of the year mapped out in terms of what games I'm buying. I'm trying to limit myself like one game a month, which is gonna be really hard. But I keep telling myself, hey, you got all these games you gotta play, so I'm trying to kill the backlog this upcoming year.
Very good. And of course, guys, if you got questions and comments for us, please leave them down below. I kicked myself because I forgot to put out a little question thing on Twitter before we started, but maybe for part 2 I'll do that if I remember. So yeah, that's going to do it for part 1 of this epic 3-part podcast, or 2-part podcast depending on scheduling. So Izzy, do us the honors and take us out of part 1.
So thanks guys for listening to the podcast this past year. Hopefully you stick with us moving into 2015. Lots of good stuff coming out when it comes to movies and games. So, as always, for myself, Izzy, he is Lord X, and we'll catch you in part 2 or next year or whenever this goes up.
Bye.